Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is the California Cougar, and I'm back. I am finally back. It's been almost a month and a half since I made my last video. Oh, man. So much going on. I just never had time to film in November. There was just so much going on. I had a lot of college projects, a lot of events and other stuff going on. I've just been so busy with my life, and a lot of personal things as well. November was actually a pretty terrible month for me, honestly. But that being said, I'm finally back. I figured I needed to get these really quick movie reviews done before Star Wars: The Last Jedi comes out this weekend. And I'm actually seeing that in 2 days from when I'm filming this. Now that might equate to 1 day or maybe even a few hours when this video comes out, because I honestly don't know when I'm going to be able to get this video out. All I know is that I will get it out before I see The Last Jedi. So yeah, hopefully that'll be fun with everyone, and hopefully this Friday I will have a Last Jedi review out. That review will be spoiler free, of course, like all my reviews are. But yes, without further ado, let's get into the reviews now. There are 11 films that I'm going to be reviewing here, and I'm going to be going in chronological order based on release date, so let's get right into it. Alright, so the first movie that I saw actually was a movie that came out back in July, and that is Brigsby Bear. Now, Brigsby Bear, it's basically a filmmaker's dream. This guy wants to make a film about this bear based on a TV show or something like that, and basically it's how it's done and how everything is set up and all that. Now, I was intrigued by this film for the most part. I liked most of the characters. There were some I did not care for at all, like the sister, but overall it was a fine movie. A lot of people have been praising the hell out of it, giving it 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, perfect 100 type scores, A+. Unfortunately for me, I just don't think it's quite that good. I don't think it's a film that I'm going to remember for years to come. But I do think it is an enjoyable film for what it is. So with that being said, I'm going to give Brigsby Bear a 72% fresh rating. That is a solid B. Alright, up next on the list we have Stronger. Now, this is a film based on a guy who lost his legs in the Boston Marathon bombing, and basically the aftermath of what goes down after the event. Now, this is no Patriots Day. Let's just get that out of the way right here. This is no Patriots Day. It's not about catching the bombers. It's just about this one guy's life, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal does a really, really good job at portraying this guy. And the things that his character goes through in this movie are so filled with emotion. You can feel the emotion. Jake Gyllenhaal, I think he's Oscar worthy in this movie. I really do. Now, if only the Academy would actually nominate him. Yeah, I still can't get over that snub in 2015 for Nightcrawler. But yeah, I'd love to see him get nominated. As for flaws, I do think it is a one-and-done film just based on the subject matter alone. And I do think there's a couple times where the movie just does slow down where it really doesn't need to. But other than that, Stronger is definitely one of the stronger films of 2017. I'm going to give Stronger an 88% certified fresh rating. That is a solid A. Alright, up next we have Geostorm. Now this was my guilty pleasure anticipated movie of the entire year, because I'm a big fan of disaster movies when it comes to guilty pleasures, like Day After Tomorrow. That's one of my biggest ones. The first 2/3 or so of 2012, I guess you could say, are also kind of up there as being guilty pleasure kind of fun. And San Andreas is one of my biggest guilty pleasures of all time. So I was looking forward to that movie for some reason. And I gotta say, Geostorm is a guilty pleasure for the last 40 minutes. Everything leading up to that, however, is so boring and nonsensical. Like, there's only one like guilty pleasure disaster scene, and it's in like the first 20 or so minutes of the movie, but that's it up until like the 65-70 minute mark. If you can get to that third act, then I can see people having a lot of fun with it, but I just don't think it's worth it in the long run. Yeah, I mean, Gerard Butler does his best, I think, but everyone else is totally phoning it in. And the visual effects, some are good, but most of them are just absolutely rough. Really rough. Like, not the worst I've seen all year, but still. Geostorm's just not worth your time, honestly. I'm going to give it a 37% rotten rating. That is a D+. Alright, up next we have another disaster film, except this one's meant to be taken a little bit more seriously, and that is Only the Brave. Now, Only the Brave is basically about the Granite Mountain hotshots up in Prescott, Arizona, like near Prescott, Arizona, and basically what it's about is it goes through like what the hotshots do and all that, and they're fighting all these wildfires, and it centers around one of the most infamous fires in Arizona history, the Yarnell Hill Fire. And of course, if you know the story of the Granite Mountain hotshots, you know that tragedy ultimately struck one day while they were fighting the Yarnell Hill Fire. So this film basically centers around that, and it is filled with emotion. Like, holy crap. Especially like the last 15 minutes. I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say there's one person who walks into a room, and like what happens when that person walks into that room, it had so many people in my theater in tears. And that's just how the whole film is. Now, I do think the film is a little bit too long for its own good. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that. It's certainly not this year's Deepwater Horizon. I'd say it's more like this year's Everest, where it's a solid film, a solid disaster film overall, really good disaster film overall, but I do think it drags on a little bit too long. Other than that, I really don't have any flaws with Only the Brave. I think it's a really good movie. I'm going to give Only the Brave an 89% certified fresh rating. That is a solid A. Alright, up next. Oh boy, this is where I put on my rant phase, because up next is A Bad Mom's Christmas. Oh my god. I thought the first Bad Moms was bad. I thought it was awful, but this is a whole lot worse. And I mean way worse. Holy hell. Like, none of the characters are likable. There's no laughs at all in this movie, at least from what I remember. I mean, there might have been one or two jokes, but other than that, that's it. There's only one character that's, like, somewhat redeeming, but other than that, that's it. There's nothing good about this movie at all. The jokes fall flat. The humor is, like, jokes, and why do I even say it? I'm at a loss for words because of this movie. There's some really cringeworthy scenes in this movie that made me have to take breaks, and this is one of the worst movies of the year for sure. Bad Mom's Christmas, don't even bother with it. Don't bother. I'm going to give it a 7% rotten rating. That is a big F. Alright, well, congratulations to Bad Mom's Christmas for getting what I think is now my 13th F of 2017. Yeah, it's about to tie last year with 14, which is pretty scary. And I already have a feeling I'm going to give at least one more F. Hopefully I'm wrong, but yeah, we'll see. But anyway, the next movie up is one of the most praised movies of the year. And it's been getting a lot of Oscar buzz, and many people consider it to be the best film of the year, and that is Lady Bird. Now, for the longest time, this had a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, until I think yesterday when one reviewer gave it a negative review. It wasn't even that negative. It was like a B-, yet it was still rotten. Makes no sense. But yeah, it was the It was the movie that passed Toy Story 2 as the best reviewed film on Rotten Tomatoes of all time. Why that is, I will never understand, because this movie was just so meh. Like, it's basically another one of those stupid life movies that barely has any plot. Like, it does have some relatable characters, but some of the things the characters do are so questionable. Like, would I do the things that the characters do? Probably not. It's this year's Boyhood, essentially, which is another film I thought was overrated as all hell. The one thing I can say about this movie that makes it more tolerable than Boyhood is its runtime. This movie's only like 90 minutes long. Boyhood was 2 hours and 45 minutes. So, in that sense, this movie, I'd definitely rather watch this movie again. But still, it's just, I just don't see it. I don't see the praise in it at all. Like, Saoirse Ronan's fine, but I wouldn't say she's Oscar-worthy like a lot of people are. Just a lot of Oscar bait in this. That's really all I can say. I'm going to give Lady Bird a 51% rotten rating. That is a solid C. I think that's the first time I've ever given a rating to a movie that's lower than any other rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is ironic. Actually, I might have done that with Boyhood, I don't know. But yeah, up next we have one of the best movies of the year, Thor Ragnarok. Hell yes. This movie is awesome. Like, the comedy is brilliant. It's known as one of the funniest MCU films, and I can totally see why, because this movie had me dying laughing multiple times. Like, Chris Hemsworth is awesome. Tom Hiddleston's great. Tessa Thompson is really good. Jeff Goldblum is hilarious. Even though he pretty much plays Jeff Goldblum throughout the entire movie, he's still hilarious. But, yeah, this movie is just non-stop fun from start to finish. And some of the plot twists in this movie, I think, work really well. And it has a really good theme that I can actually kind of relate to right now because, yeah, currently my hometown in Southern California is getting, yeah. For those of you that don't know what's going on in Southern California, just look up Southern California and you might find something that's currently happening in Southern California. And it actually happened in Northern California not too long ago. So yeah, I can kind of relate to that theme in this movie, and I think it works really well for it. It has some great action sequences, got some great characters, great themes. Doctor Strange was a bit of a disappointment. I do think the fact that they advertised that he was going to be in the movie, it just felt like another one of those, okay, he shows up, he's only in the movie for 5 minutes. Maybe. And if you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, first of all, what the hell are you doing? Get out there and see it. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of a spoiler, but I would expect that most of you have probably seen Thor Ragnarok by now, so you shouldn't be surprised by that. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed that Doctor Strange wasn't in the movie more. And I do think a few of the jokes did fall flat, but otherwise, awesome. One of the best superhero movies of the year. I do think it's better than Wonder Woman. Not quite on the same level as Spider-Man Homecoming, but still up there nonetheless. I'm going to give Thor Ragnarok a 95% certified fresh rating. That is an A+. Alright, so we have 4 more movies left. Up next, we have another movie I was looking forward to a lot, Murder on the Orient Express, directed by Kenneth Branagh. Now, this movie has a huge cast, and it has a very interesting premise, too. Kind of like the game Clue, in a sense, where it's like, okay, somebody dies, now they have to figure out who the murderer is. And the cast in this movie, you have Kenneth Branagh, you have Josh Gad, Daisy Ridley, Michelle Pfeiffer, a bunch of other people. I can't really name them all. I think is Willem Dafoe in this movie? I don't remember, but yeah. Anyway, it has a huge cast, and for parts of the movie, I did think it was interesting, but overall, it was pretty lackluster and pretty disappointing. Honestly, it's very slow paced. First off, it was very slow, and it bored me quite a bit. But I mean, again, it does have a lot of good things going for it. I do think the performances, especially Kenneth Branagh, were all really good. I love the production design of the movie as well. And I think visually it looks great. Cinematography wise and like some of the visual effects, they look really great. But as a whole, I just couldn't really find myself getting invested into it, unfortunately. And like when you find out who the killer is, I'm like, really? That's it? It was predictable. It was just really predictable. So yeah. Overall, great cast, great concept, had a lot of potential, a lot of things going for it. Disappointing. I'm going to give Murder on the Orient Express a 57% rotten rating. That is a C+. Alright, up next we have 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, the new Martin McDonagh film. Same guy who did In Bruges, which I still have yet to see, and 7 Psychopaths, which I love, and I actually rewatched that movie recently, and I'd probably put it in my top 10 of 2012, honestly. It's a really good movie. And 3 Billboards is another really good movie from Martin McDonagh. I don't think it's quite up there with 7 Psychopaths, but nonetheless, it doesn't take away from the fact that it is a really good movie. Frances McDormand, Sam Rockwell, Woody Harrelson, they all kill it in this movie. But the main standout is the dialogue. The dialogue is amazing. This has probably the best screenplay of the year, if not one of the best. It's up there with Get Out for me as the best original screenplay of the year. And like the thing I like about it the most is that it doesn't hold back. McDonagh just lets it all loose. He doesn't hold anything back. It's like Quentin Tarantino in a sense, where they just don't hold anything back. And that's what I love about this movie. And people say that McDonagh's basically the Irish Tarantino. I can totally see why. Now, I do think the movie does slow down a few times where it doesn't really need to. And Woody Harrelson, he was good in the movie, but he was also my favorite character. And and I was expecting him to be in the movie a lot more than he actually was, so that kind of took a hit for me. But other than that, I still think 3 Billboards is a really good, entertaining film. I'm going to give 3 Billboards a 91% certified fresh rating. That is a solid A. Alright, 2 movies left. Up next we have Justice League. Now, this is a movie that I was really skeptical about. I mean, really, really skeptical, because we all know how the DCEU has been in the past with Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. Those were both massive letdowns. And this movie, it has Zack Snyder directing it, with Josh Whedon filling in for I guess some of the reshoots, I guess, because okay, first off, I feel bad for Zack Snyder that he had to drop out of this movie later on because of personal family issues. His daughter committed suicide, which is really sad, obviously. I do feel bad for him for that. But now getting back to the movie, this movie, I didn't think anything could be worse than Batman v Superman with the DCEU. This movie's worse. It is worse. It's really bad. Really bad. First off, the characters are all so lackluster. Like, some of the characters that I've loved in the past, like Ben Affleck as Batman, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Oh my god, she was not good in this movie. I really did not like her in this movie. She was just not there. Neither was Affleck. But I do think a couple good characters that I did like. First off, The Flash. I thought he brought a lot of humor to this movie, and he was by far my favorite character. Ezra Miller, I think, did a really good job playing The Flash, and whenever he was on screen, he had me laughing a few times. And Aquaman, he's the other character I really like. Jason Momoa, I think, played him really well. He had a few funny moments as well, but he was just cool. That's what he was. He was cool. A really cool character. So yeah, I can't wait to see what James Wan does with the solo Aquaman movie coming out next year. I'm excited for that because I really liked Aquaman in this movie. And I mean, there are a few action sequences that did intrigue me, but for the most part, this movie just feels rushed, inconsistent. I mean, I could tell it was directed by two different people. It just felt like that. And oh my god, the visual effects in this movie are some of the worst I've ever seen in a superhero film. Like, I'm talking Four Stick level bad. I'm not even kidding. I'm being dead serious right now. The visuals were so bad in this movie, and it has some of the worst visual effects I've seen this year, for sure. And the way Superman, it's not a spoiler. We all knew he was coming back. The way he's introduced in this movie, I was like, really? Really? Now, I know some of you probably haven't seen this movie yet, so I'm not going to spoil the introduction or say anything about it, but I can guarantee you, it's like, really? That's how he's introduced into this movie? Come on. And the end credit scene, not the mid-credit scene. The mid-credit scene I actually really liked. The end credit scene, shoot me. Just shoot me. It was awful. So yeah, this movie, it does have a few good things going on with it, but overall, it's a mess. It's a rushed mess. Most of the characters are forgettable, bland. The visuals are garbage. The screenplay is not all there. It's the worst one in the DCEU so far. I'm going to give Justice League a 30% rotten rating. That is a D. A solid D. Alright, and finally we have Coco, Pixar's newest film. Now, this film basically centers around this boy who wants to be a musician, and then he ends up in this other land with a bunch of skeletons. If you've seen the trailer, you know that, but yeah. And I wasn't expecting this movie to be a huge standout, say films like Inside Out or Toy Story 3 or basically most of Pixar's earlier films, Ratatouille, WALL-E, The Incredibles, films like that. But wow, this movie surprised me in the best way possible. It's a masterpiece, and I really mean that. Lego Batman, I'm sorry, take a seat. Coco is the new best animated feature of the year, and I hope it wins the Oscar. I really do. A lot of people have been saying if it does win the Oscar, they're not going to be happy. But most of those people also haven't seen the movie yet. So yeah, all I'm going to say is if you think this movie is like a ripoff of The Book of Life or think it doesn't deserve the Oscar because it's Disney and Disney always gets it, see the movie first. Just see the movie first. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, Coco, it has some great characters. I thought Hector was really funny. I thought the main character was really relatable because I am a musician as well. But yeah, Coco is just overall, it's a masterpiece. There's really nothing more I can say about it. It's going to be in my top 5 best films of the year for sure. Absolutely. It's Pixar's best film since Inside Out and their second best since Toy Story 3 and overall third best of the decade. So yeah, I'm going to give Coco a perfect 100% certified fresh rating. That is an A+, baby. Let's go, Pixar. Welcome back. Alright, so there's my reviews, or all my catch-up reviews that I'm doing. It's good to be back on YouTube after a really long hiatus, after a bunch of problems going on in my life. But yeah, it's good to be back. Hope you guys enjoyed my return here. And what did you guys think about all these movies? If you have seen them, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. what you thought of any of these movies, if you have seen them, and what movies are guaranteed to make your top 5 of the year? I'll ask that question. Make sure to leave down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more reviews to come in the future. Again, I will have a Star Wars The Last Jedi spoiler-free review out on Friday, hopefully. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And until next time, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember to stay California cool. Peace.